All right. Disclaimer. What I have done is not for beginners or even intermediate. 3-day fast, 72 hours, maybe a little bit more, completely dry, limited electronics, and then a 3-hour meditation straight per day. My body's pretty used to it at this point. So it wasn't really too difficult for me to get through the eating part. Meditation, nah, that was difficult. I won't lie. That was tough. The limited electronics as well was actually a really good thing. It allowed me to focus on reading and writing, which are two areas I've been wanting to focus on, but I've been so distracted that it was just hard to do. It was hard to do. So by me eliminating that, even doing no music, putting my phone away as soon as I got in the house, man, I was able to get it in. I jumped in 3 days, probably 100 pages in my book. Um, but I've been writing my own book, doing things of that nature. So all the things that I've learned from this 3-day journey, I'm definitely gonna integrate into my regular routine. That's for sure. I can't even see a way of properly going back to how things were. Um, Also, disclaimer, this was not for my body in the sense that I didn't do this to lose weight or lose fat, attempt to get more shredded. Actually, that was not my intent at all. My true purpose was literally just focusing on my discipline. Like I said, applying myself more to the things I wanted to do. Um, yeah, this was big mental and spiritual journey for me. I've actually got notes. Just why I've got this book here. I tracked each day. Um, I call it the trifecta fast. 3 days, 3 rules, 3 hours. Yeah, I've pretty much gone over everything that I did. Um, let's see. I started Sunday essentially. Last meal I had was Sunday at 5, around then, and I considered it my official start around 11:30 p.m. to 12 a.m. because I hadn't put my phone down and gotten off of social media until then. So um, now it's Thursday morning. Um, Although Thursday at 12 a.m., once I finished my last fast or my last meditation, I had some tea to officially break it. This morning I had some breakfast, um, eggs, vegetables, and a fruit smoothie. So let's go ahead and get into it, man. Starting with day one, that was December 11th, 2023. Let's see. The notes that I got for the meditation. Yeah, those first and last 30 minutes were hard. They were the hardest. I gotta say, I almost quit, shortened it, and broke it up a few times throughout that. I faced hunger, fatigue, and sexual urges all the way through. Just my thoughts were chaotic, man. I That was the first time I was truly bored like that. Um, Before this 3-hour meditation, the longest I'd ever meditated for was like 30 minutes tops. Never have I gone over 30 minutes. So actually going into this, I was scared. I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous. It uh it definitely intimidated me to just sit in silence because there was no music, no guided meditation. It was just me in my room. Um, in terms of the fast, like I said, it wasn't too much different from what I'm used to. I had the time to clean also, and then read and write. Um, let's see. Like I said, that first day too, the hunger, it wasn't too bad. It was moderate. Um, and also for the meditation, I was fidgety. I had a clock in front of me, and I was always looking at it. Um, I even so that's another thing. Meditating and reading for me was always an activity that put me to sleep. I don't know what it was. I just instantly got tired from it. And this first day, I work in the mornings on Monday, So I worked until about 1 p.m. I did it right after that. So I did it in the afternoonish. And my body really wasn't even all that tired. But as soon as I began, in like the first 10 minutes, I passed out. Um, Now I didn't stay passed out because I stayed in the upright position with my neck forward. And so when I did pass out, my head dropped, woke back up. And I peeped it. But from there on, I didn't have any more tiredness really. Um, my mind was alert, which was interesting. Moving on to day two, the fast. I woke up in the morning still pretty hungry. It had spurts throughout the day. For the meditation, it was far quicker. This time I actually decided to get rid of the clock because I knew just how distracting that was. Looking at it, I was way too focused on it. Um, my seating position this time around, I aim to be more relaxed. I realized I was a little sore from sitting in that cross leg position the whole time. I tried to really just focus on either that cross position, having a kneel position, or doing one leg cross at a time. If it got too hard, I would just spread my legs out. But regardless, um, it was tough. It was tough on my body. I felt the tightness, especially in my legs. Um, I do remember going to sleep pretty hungry this night though. Uh, but anyway, moving on to day three, my last day. As for the fast, I woke up feeling pretty lethargic. Um, Especially just getting up out of bed was tough. I stood up, I felt a little dizzy, shook out of it, and my body was clearly on like conservation mode throughout the day. My movements felt slower, but also my breathing and my thinking, in the sense that like I did feel a little more focused and tuned in, um, especially not having music. I listen to music all the time. So this was a big change, truthfully. Um, and then for that meditation, this time I took away. Uh, well, actually, I failed to mention it, but on that day too, I took away the clock, but my watch was in my bag, and it goes off every hour. So I kind of had timestamps that second time through, letting me know when an hour had passed. Which, actually, I intended to do that again. I thought it would have been all right, but my watch wasn't going off this time, so I had no timestamps. Um, and I noticed this within at least maybe the first 30 minutes to an hour. I'm like, okay, my watch should have been gone off because I started around like 8:30, 8:40. Um, so that was a little troubling. Eventually I just was like, whatever. Um, Now I did notice because my room has light coming in from the window. I would just open my eyes uh, pretty frequently and look around, which proved to be a little distracting. It made it harder to focus. So I ended up using my t-shirt as a blindfold, just like this, and it made it a lot easier to focus. It actually made it a little easier to sit in them seated positions as well. Um, I my eyes started to do the thing where you see the colors or whatever floating around, dots and such. But that was about as far as it ever went. Um, yeah, and so by this point, once I was blindfolded, I was pretty locked in. But man, I failed to check the clock. Or I'm sorry, I failed and checked the clock. I wanted to not check the clock at all, but because didn't have those timestamps, ah, the worriness did kind of kick in. Um, Man, and I gave in. So I got up and checked my phone just to see what time it was. I knew I was gonna go back into meditation, but I was too curious, man. And come to find out, when I go to check the clock, I have a minute left on the timer. Literally 2 hours and 59 minutes have passed. I was, man, you wouldn't believe it. I was so hurt. I'm like, man, I was 1 minute away from making it through the whole thing. But now I know I'll never check the clock again. I'll never do that again. It was a great learning experience though. Uh, Once I finished, man, I had a burst of energy. I felt like I could work out. Honestly, that's how good I felt. Um, let's see here. I took a warm bath, had some tea to officially break it. I decided to check my weight just out of curiosity. Um, I did lose 10 pounds in these 3 days. Um, but like I said before in the beginning, this is not something you want to do as a solution for weight loss because it wouldn't necessarily clean up your habits. Um, and you'll always see it as, okay, I'm just gonna do this cycle of eating and fasting, starving myself, instead of just doing things properly in the beginning, and taking care of yourself. And it can lead to some issues, which I don't advise. Um, like I said, I'm pretty adept to it now at this point. I honestly felt like I could have gone 4 days. Um, 5 days would have been a real challenge, but I don't see the need to push myself to that extreme. Um, I believe I've gotten everything that I wanted to get out of this time frame, and I like to balance things out. So I'm gonna end up, taking some time to celebrate. I'm probably gonna go out to eat Monday or so once my body's, back used to eating properly again, 2 to 3 meals a day. Um, yeah, there was a time long before this where I had even had 1 meal per day. Um, I could go days without eating. So, like I said, this is something my body just naturally adapted to. Overall, overall, phenomenal experience. Truly, I think I intend to do this every 2 months. I'm gonna integrate it into my deload week. Um, Now I'm gonna do a little bit of meditation, of course, a week, and then possibly a little bit of fasting. Not too much, probably not even more than 24 hours. On my fourth week, maybe only like 2 days out of the week, like a Tuesday and a Thursday. But it will probably be a wet fast, won't be a dry fast. Um, I can get more into the details of my routine another time, but more so focused about the trifecta. Um, man, I see things differently. I'm more in tune. Um, I've heard about Vispana, which is like a Buddhist meditation. I don't know if I want to say retreat, but it's the thing they do where they meditate and fast for 10 days. So, but the meditation is also 10 hours per day, and that's intense. Um, Now it's a challenge that I'm interested in. I don't know if I'm truly to pursue it. Wherever I would go, I wouldn't do it on my own. I'd have to go to some spot where they formally conduct these. But um, from people I've heard speak on it, it's pretty life changing. And this was 3 days, 3 days, and it was life changing. Um, so I'm gonna, make this video, put my phone down, get back on to what I've been on, reading and writing some more. I'll still have my times where I watch some anime. Anime is like one of my biggest things. I love those stories so much, and thought that those writers put into them. It's some cool stuff. So big into storytelling, but I'm gonna space it out a little more. Um, and yeah, I'll keep you updated. There will be a time I do this again. Who knows what I'll change? I'll probably do a blindfold from the start. No clock from the start. No timestamps from the start. Um, Probably keep it at 3 days and 3 hours, just so that it's not all consuming. I don't want this to be something that takes over my life. I live alone, so I have the opportunity to do this. But if I were to have a romantic partner or kids, obviously I have to be more strategic. Maybe I would do it in the morning when people are asleep, every 2 months or whatever the case. But right now, it's easy for me to get into it and start really just learning this stuff. Developing new habits. So I'm 25 now. I just turned 25 last month. Um, and yeah, I'm glad I found this path. So y'all take it easy. I appreciate you listening. Until next time.